My advice to those of you who are posting about wanting to stop cancer, wanting to destroy cancer, wanting people to pray about no more cancer. Cancer is the body trying to evolve, yes, but it's your relationship to pain is why people have cancer. Okay? This is something that dads out there who are on the J juice and are getting off the J juice because they understand now it's about eating the food supply, dealing with viral evolutions. When you're exposed to a virus, you're not going to be suppressing the evolution with antibiotics. Because when you get exposed to influenza every single year, everyone gets their colds and their flus, it's all viral related, they start suppressing the evolution. And they're taking mucus drying agents. They're taking all their antibiotics and their turmeric and their honey. They're taking their, the chemotherapy if they do get some kind of bout of cancer. And so cancer is a compound. It's compounding all the de-evolutionary reactions to your viral exposure. And so at some point when your body is not allowed to evolve the way it needs to every year, every flu season, then yes, you will have an exponential rate of growth because the body is trying to catch up and overcompensate for what you've been doing for the last 40 years, every single flu season. Flu season is evolution season. But look how people are going to react to flu season. They're going to go and get all their antibiotics. They're going to go and try to dry up their mucus. They're not going to want to be taken out of the game. They'll be using J juice to energize the pain away. And so when you lack compound growth every year for the last 20 years, 15 years, and you're teaching your kids to run away from pain using antibiotics, using antivirals, using all the different remedies in the market, then yes, cancer is going to be, cancer and tumors are going to come to surface because that's the body way of trying to compensate for what you've been doing for however many years. And so there's no way to get rid of cancer when people are actively destroying their pain evolutionary cycles. There's no way to get rid of cancer when people are doing that. And so, yeah, this is not going to be popular. There's no way to pray away the cancer. There's no way to do any of the stuff that people are doing on Facebook. You want to get rid of cancer, you got to deal with your pain. And you have to support it correctly. You got to eat the food supply and deal with it. And try to avoid, if possible, all the antibiotic and the remedies that are out there. You realize that the medical holistic industry has contributed to the cancer market. You know why? Because they keep suppressing your evolution because you've asked for it. And so cancer will never go away when people are actively suppressing their evolution. Because you're supposed to maintain existence, you're supposed to stay alive, and you're supposed to feel pain whenever there is a new viral entity, a panspermia. And every winter, it's like a panspermia. Every single time a new virus comes into the environment, that's a panspermia. That's evolution. So when you're in a cured state of decline, yes, cancer is only going to be inevitable. And so now that you're in remission, you've put yourself in a cured state of decline where you have now controlled the evolution to where now it's a slow, controlled de-evolution. And then you will see people start losing their collagen, start losing their hair. They look like they're 10 years older. That's the ramifications and the consequences for you suppressing your evolution. And so, yeah, there's no way to get rid of cancer when people are actively reacting to their evolutionary cycles in an antibiotic way. And chemotherapy and cannabis and all these different remedies out there are only suppressing the inevitable. So it is what it is, but I'll tell you what, every single season when there's a new viral entity, People contract cancer, disease, chronic illness, even death, because their body does not have, they do not have what it takes thermodynamically to deal with the piezoelectric forces within the viral entities, as well as their friends and family who want to hang out with them, but they have immunological data uploads that are going to be too much for people who are deficient in their body, mind, and spirit, that are nutritionally deficient, thermodynamically deficient, obviously underweight. And even if you're overweight, you're still deficient because all of your beef is in the muscle and the fat isn't working for you, because some people have too much of the fat, which doesn't allow for the movement within their arteries and capillaries. And so then, yes, people risk heart issues, heart disease. And so too much stagnation leads to heart failure. Overstimulation on a continuous basis without allowing the body to evolve and feel pain will then cause heart failure, vital organ failure, because there's lack of the ability to take on the programming, the food, the fat, all of that. And so I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Some of you are dealing with cancer in your family. Some of you are dealing with cancer with your loved ones. And cancer is the body finally revolting against your practices. And there's no way to save your family and friends from cancer. Yeah, it may go in remission, but the body will find a way to grow somewhere, or they will cannibalize other parts of your body. So you see the aging process. That's what the aging process is where the other parts of the body are being sacrificed to keep your vital organs alive. When your integumentary system, your hair, skin, and nails are being sacrificed to keep your body, to keep your brain and your heart and your lungs and your liver alive. Then when those aren't, when you don't have any more resources in your hair, skin, and nails, and the body is lacking in sodium and lacking in electrolytes, and then you get exposed to a large viral upload, what do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to survive a very aggressive electrical environment when you don't have enough insulation and enough of the gumption to handle another evolutionary cycle? Obviously, you can't handle evolutionary cycles because you keep suppressing every single one, every single winter and every single fall. And then you're getting chemotherapy and cannabis on top of that. Yeah, I get it that you need to stop the aggressive growth because it's sucking the life out of you, but how are you going to grow and evolve? Oh, wait, you're supposed to die. That's right. And so there's no way you're going to get rid of cancer in our society when people keep reacting to their evolutionary growth with aggressive antibiotics or aggressive energy. There's no freaking way. And so you have to set yourself up to prepare for people around you who have been diagnosed that they may not last through this next season. I'm preparing myself. It sucks. I hate to be the one, but I know the reality. I know people's predispositions. And so I've already come to terms with people in my world as far as just my own family, because I know how aggressive the environment is. I felt it the last couple weeks. Yeah, you can get a vector, but that's not going to be 100%. You still are exposed to piezoelectric forces. And if there's nothing to you, then yeah, how are you going to survive that? If there's something to you, you might be able to get through it if your vital organs are relatively strong. But do you even know? I mean, that's the risk that you take when you keep devolving through the medical holistic system. And so Father's Day is about understanding and redirecting the energy that you're putting towards taking away the pain so you can get some kind of relative peace when you haven't earned it. Your kids need to understand they have to go through the viral cycle. You can't stop it with antivirals. You can't stop it with antibiotics. You can't stop it with the J juice. I even see, which I understand. Some people have used J juice to really accelerate their healing process, but did they actually heal, or did they just energize the evolution away? And so then, yes, kids are going to use J juice as a way to energize the evolution away instead of actually dealing with the viral upload, with the viral data. And so when I see people using J juice in that way for even their kids, which is not a bad thing, it's no different than a cure when someone takes an antiviral. But yes, it has the probiotics, and yes, there's the food supply, but when you're not training your children to handle the pain by always anesthetizing or taking away or distracting, then they're not going to understand that, yes, pain is evolution, and to give their body time to adapt to that new environment. And so I knew that people were doing the J juice, but they weren't evolving. Not everybody. Some of you were really doing the best you can to evolve in the mind, but your body was not giving you the specific measurable results. When you add on the fat more than the muscle, you might see differences in your integumentary system. Hair, skin, and nails. Like my teeth, I've been drinking coffee, like a lot of coffee, and it's been through the cans. Usually I get stains on my teeth that I would take a little bit of the bentonite clay with a little bit of peppermint oil, and I would kind of brush off the stains. I haven't had to do that in the last couple weeks. So I noticed a difference in my teeth, and I noticed a difference in my hair, skin, and nails. My skin, I haven't had any eruptions, though I do have a little tiny ear, a little bit of a, like, I could feel like, I don't know, it's like just some kind of blackhead or whitehead. I don't know if you can see. But I mean, I feel something there. It's not as painful as it was. It wasn't really painful, but I could feel it. There's some kind of thing going on here in my ear. But I haven't had any PMDD. I haven't had any period yet since April. But I have not had any zits on my face. I haven't dealt with any skin eruptions. My hair is just like, holy crap. You know, I'm actually cutting hair out of my little vacuum cleaner because so much of my hair is all over the place. But I have a lot of hair here, and so I vacuum my hair a lot. So it's like a freaking rope in my vacuum cleaner. And my nails are very strong. They grow very fast. Okay, so I noticed a difference in my hair, skin, and nails, which means because I have fat on my body, I'm not energizing away anything. And so this is where the J juice comes, is understanding your environment, which is electric, understanding your job, which is, energy, is understanding that when you go through symptoms, it's energy. And so how are you going to back up that energy with a substantial food supply that's going to help code your DNA to be able to handle all the different adaptation evolutions that are going to happen in a very aggressive environment. Okay? And so you must have specific measurable results to know that what you're doing is working. And if you don't see them in all of your body, mind, and spirit, then you know that you are plateauing, and get off the J juice and deal with the viruses, deal with the food supply. If food gives you pain, it's because your body's finally able to use it. When people are getting those food allergies, like peanut allergies and egg allergies, yeah, there's programming in the vector therapeutics that may have programmed your body to attack those proteins because they think it's an enemy. But then when you open up your channels and you override that programming with the food supply, okay, with the same food that used to give you all this inflammation, yes, it's going to bring up inflation, but you deal with it and you sit with it. Now, here's the thing. If it's so aggressive that it clogs up, then you have to introduce a little bit at a time. But that's the thing, is that you have to know that when you're dealing with the evolution, you do J juice with the food supply, with your allergies, to help energize and release the excess, okay? And so that's going to be a very careful balance when someone is actually anaphylactic allergic to food. But you must be able to eat the food in the food supply. And that means that, yes, for some people, it's going to be using the J juice to help assist you in that. But you're still going to have to deal with the pain. And you may have to deal with your steroids and your prescription drugs until you have finally been able to know that you'll survive the evolutionary symptoms. And so that's the fear I understand with anaphylactics and food allergies. And so that is where you incrementally add in that. So, but you also know that you'll survive whatever attack. And that's going to be one of the people are going to figure that out, what's comfortable for them. They're going to be using antibiotics and J juice to kind of assist them through some of the scarier parts of the evolutionary process. But eventually you're going to have to get off of those assistants. And so, yeah, I mean, when someone doesn't have what it takes to handle anaphylaxis, they feel their throat closing up and they can't breathe. Yeah, that's scary. And so then you use the J juice to help energize all that and get the mucus out. That's the thing. That's the thing. And so there's a lot of ways to use J juice to help assist you through the evolutionary process, but not to be dependent on it, and to allow your body to evolve, so that way cancer is not going to be in your future. And so that's, and that's everyone's journey. You will use the medical holistic system until you feel that you're strong enough to handle the evolutionary process. I'm at the point where I don't need J juice. So I'm letting you know where the end point is when it comes to J juice. At some point, you'll be strong enough to survive evolutionary upgrades. And you won't have the food allergies. You won't have anaphylaxis. You'll know when you deal with a new viral variant because you feel the mucus, and you'll be strong enough to expel it. Those that are anaphylactic have been trained not to be able to expel excess because the body's dealing with the new programming. And so I have to write about that because I understand now, I knew that people who are anaphylactic have the fear of not being able to breathe. I get that. And so everything is incremental. Everything is measuring out what you can handle, knowing that you can handle the symptoms of evolution. And they're going to be different for everybody based upon your predispositions, based upon how your body was programmed. And you have to deal with pain. Because if you are afraid to eat certain foods because of anaphylaxis, you're going to stay away from that food. You're not going to want to feel any kind of evolution because it's going to remind you thinking that you're going to die from anaphylaxis. And you'll be forever stuck in that bubble of just not being able to handle the world around you. When food has been weaponized against you, that's going to be the hardest for a lot of people who are so fearful of dying from anaphylaxis. And I don't know how to help you with that, except that you're going to have to figure out what's comfortable for you. And food allergies are the number one things that people are having issues with, that they're using the medical holistic industry to nip and tuck and manipulate their immune system. But that's only going to come out even worse down the road. Not only are they deficient, but they don't know how to handle the pain and understand that they have to be able to be strong enough to expel the excess. Okay, eating the steak last night, when I eat my tangerines, I didn't have the mucus come out before with tangerines, but when I gone through this COVID, I had the mucus come out and it tasted like a tangerine, and it was very salty too. So I knew that the food was recoding. I was recoding everything with the food supply, with the steak, with the meat, with the milk. I bought these desserts, the chiffon stuff. Okay, so I knew that coughing, when you hear me cough, it's my body getting rid of the excess because it's to get rid of the old programming and bring in the new programming. And so if you want to be able to recode your body, you do it incrementally. If you know you're allergic to nuts, well, you got to get rid of the excess out of your colon, and you start introducing things very incrementally so you can handle the evolutionary symptoms. But if you don't have any food allergies, and you're obese or you're not obese, you could do start doing, I said a gallon a day a couple of years ago because yes, there were some really aggressively obese people that could afford to have that evolutionary adaptation. Is really aggressive that they're like, oh my God. I mean, yeah, it shocked their system a bit, but it got them to where they started feeling the evolution, started feeling the pain. They're getting used to it. And so that was like the extreme side of it in the beginning. And then we realized how we were going to use J juice to be very strategic. And then you can see what it does. It does take off weight, but you don't want to take off the substance. And that was prior to COVID. Now we have more electricity in the environment. Now you have to deal with not only the electricity in the environment and the transducers and the viruses, but also your job, also your lifestyle, and then dealing with the symptoms. And so it is a lot, but the main thing is to deal with your symptoms without trying to suppress them, because it's all evolution. Food should not be poison to you. You should not be allergic to any food. Food should not be weaponized against you. You should be able to eat peanuts and tomatoes and fish and meat and milk and fermented foods. You should be able to eat all the things in the food supply that's FDA approved. And if you can't, then you know you have a deficiency, and you're going to have to introduce that food very, very carefully so you can feel comfortable with how the symptoms come about. So, but cancer is as a result of people suppressing their evolution, and then they're going to paint themselves in a corner as they keep eliminating things that cause them disease. And you're in a false state of peace because you got rid of the evolutionary symptoms, then eventually it's going to come back at you. And in cancer, because it's just evolutionary growth compensating for your reactions to its initial introduction over time through every season. So this is a lot, I know, and a lot of fear out there, I know. But you always have the medical holistic system to kind of help you, transition, and then you get off that. Eventually, you can use a jade juice as well to help you transition, but eventually you're going to have to deal with your predispositions right there in front of your face. And I don't know, will you have what it takes in body, mind, and spirit? All right, bye.